Will your Covered California premiums go up or down in the new year? Hi, I'm Kevin Knauss with InsureMeKevin.com. And because of the formula and the calculations of the Affordable Care Act that Covered California uses, it can be very difficult to determine whether someone's premium will go up or down in the new year, because sometimes the rates, the premiums don't have any necessary connection to these rate increases that you're hearing about. But let's do an illustration so hopefully you can kind of understand how this is all working. So what I've done is I've taken an individual that lives in Sacramento County, and for 2022, that person is 40 years old, and with an income of $40,000, their monthly subsidy was $295.41. Now, this fair share percentage is very important. It is 6.26%, and that all comes from, the Affordable Care Act, and it says that this individual should pay no more than 6.26% of their household income towards the second lowest cost silver plan. That's another key element, the second lowest cost silver plan. And that fair share, it's actually kind of tied to the federal poverty level. I'm going to leave it constant through this illustration, as with the residence, the location, and the income, just to try and remove some of the noise in some of these calculations, because they can be very complicated. So in 2022, with a $295 subsidy, you can see the silver plans there, and that Saturn HMO, the second lowest cost silver plan, that individual was paying $208.80, or that's what was offered to the individual. Now, let's look at what happens in the new year. Rates increase, and there are two rate increase elements. First is the age. Going from age 40 to 41 is a 2% increase, regardless of the carrier. It's just going to be a flat 2%. Then on top of that, the carriers can apply kind of a universal rate increase in the different regions. And that accounts for inflation, new providers and contracts, and just general cost prescription drugs. So I'm using an average increase in the universal of 6%, because that's what Covered California has pretty much said is happening for 2023. Carriers, some of them are going up more than 6%, some of them not as much. I'm just using 6%. So two elements goes up 2% and the 6%. And then I've listed the annual premiums, because the formulas is kind of based on the annual premium, and then it's just divided into the 12 months. And you can see there that all of the plans with this particular illustration went up a little over 8%. So how does that look for this 41-year-old now in 2023? Still $40,000 in Sacramento. The monthly subsidy increases to $336.35. A change of almost 14%, higher than the average rate changes. And you can see that because the subsidy is larger than the rate increase, the Mercury HMO, the least expensive silver plan, actually goes down almost 1% for this individual if they selected it. The Saturn HMO, no change. Why? Because of that consumer fair share percentage. So as long as that consumer has is in the 6.26% range, the subsidy will always increase or decrease to make sure that the second lowest cost silver plan on an annual basis does not exceed 6.26% of the individual's household income. So the second lowest cost silver plan, there's no change to that, and a small change to the Mars and Pluto plans. But what happens if the second lowest cost silver plan decreases? And this can happen. Sometimes rates just go down. Sometimes there is a new entry into the marketplace. We have seen this in San Mateo and Contra Costa, where a new health plan came in with a very low price, not the lowest silver plan, but substantially lower than the previous year's second lowest cost silver plan. So in this particular illustration, I just dropped the annual premium for the Saturn HMO down to $6,350, about $190 difference. So what does that look like for the 41-year-old in Sacramento County? Well, the subsidy decreased because, again, it's based on that fair share percentage. And that subsidy, when you have that subsidy, it can be applied to any plan you want. It doesn't have to be a silver plan. It's just that that's where the formula is tied to that second lowest cost silver plan. Because the subsidy is lower, we can see that the Mercury HMO actually jumped up in price 7%. The second lowest cost silver plan, no change, because that consumer fair share percentage is keeping it constant. The Mars and the Pluto plan went up 7%. Not quite as high as the overall 8% because of the age and the universal increase, but it jumped up. So what would happen if the second lowest cost silver plan increases its annual premium? So in this particular situation, I've just taken the Saturn HMO and I've bumped it up, not very much, $60 or something, to $6,600. So it's still the number 2 spot. Everyone else is constant. And we can see that the subsidy increases to $341.20. Larger subsidy, because the formula is keeping that second lowest cost silver plan constant at 6.2% of the consumer fair share, it makes the Mercury HMO decrease by a little over 3%. The second lowest cost silver plan Saturn, same, no change. The Mars and the Pluto actually decrease a little bit because of the larger subsidy. So you can see how it's very difficult to predict where anyone's premiums are going to be for the next year because there are so many variables going on. The second lowest cost silver plan is one of them. The income, of course, we're getting a year older, but we just have to kind of wait and see how it all plays out in the new year. So if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Hopefully that's given you a little bit better insight into how your monthly premiums may be affected in any new year under the Affordable Care Act at Covered California. So for InsureMeKevin.com, I am Kevin Canals.